Brotherhood Outdoors is presented by Ulico, supporting the American worker for over 90 years.
A lot of folks ask me, what does the Union Sportsmen's Alliance do? And I have a great example of that with a project that started back in 2017. It's called the Suncoast Youth Project, and we had a youth center. It's in Tampa, Florida. It was something that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission had built. It's a wonderful center. It talks about marine sustainability, teaches kids about the ocean and all of the organisms and things in the ocean, teaches them about water quality and environmentalism and sustainability, conservation, all these things that they really need to know. The thing about the center was, it was on a beautiful little estuary. It had a tidal pond that was full of fish. Didn't have anywhere to fish. So these kids were coming out to learn about the ocean, to learn about fish and fishing, but they had no place to fish. And so Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission came to us. We got with our local building trades there in Central Florida area, and we put together a public-private partnership to build a fishing pier and a disabled access walking area so that kids from the Tampa area could not only learn about the ocean, but also enjoy the opportunity to learn about fishing and hopefully catch their first fish. And so over the course of a couple of years, we put that partnership together. Our volunteers spent almost 1,000 man-hours. We had several contractors who donated hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of time and materials to build this pier. And overall, the project ended up being worth almost $900,000. And we were super proud of that project. Something that really signified the partnerships and the abilities and the fact that, you know, the Union Sportsmen's Alliance does something that no other organization can do. And that's bring skilled men and women to a project to provide their skills, to provide their knowledge in a way that they can volunteer like no other organization can provide. And that's really what sets us aside from other nonprofits, is we have the most skilled workers in the world. We have union men and women who know how to do things. They know how to build things. They don't need anybody overseeing them on this project, and they can provide a lot of the skills, a lot of the labor, a lot of the materials to do projects in places other organizations can't. And so that was step one of this project. And for a lot of organizations, that would have been enough. We did the project, we did a dedication, and we moved on. But that's not enough for USA, because that's what we do. That's not why we do it. Why we do it is to change lives. And so I was fortunate enough to go out and experience that. And I get a little bit emotional about this because you know, being the CEO of an organization like this, you get caught up in the what and the how a lot. I sit in budget meetings, we talk about strategy, we look at materials lists, we look at volunteer groups, and day after day, you can lose track of really why we do the things that we do and what means the most to us. And so we've had a couple of fishing events. We had an event in 2019 where we had almost 400 kids come out and their families. We had single moms bringing their kids. We had folks from all over the Tampa area that had never fished before. They live 15 minutes from the ocean. They had never ever caught a fish, and so super rewarding. We had a lot of our partners come out, the Central Building Trades. We had 8 or 9 different unions. We had our NFL Players Association there, and that event was great. COVID hit. We weren't able to do anything in 20, and we weren't able to do anything in 21. And by the grace of God, we just had an opportunity to have an event this spring, and we planned it. We had 400 kids registered for this event, which shows how much interest there is, how much need there is in that Tampa area for kids and for families to get outdoors and learn about fishing and learn about sustainability. And so the day of the event came. We had several staff there. I was fortunate enough to be there myself. And the weather was awful. The weather was terrible. We had literally gale force winds. We had rain. It was cold. And you know, my expectation was not good. My expectation for the turnout was low. I had no idea how people would come out and respond to that type of weather. And lo and behold, we had over 250 kids and their families come out on a terrible weather day, one of the worst weather days they'd had in years. And they came out there to learn to fish. We had families that were refugees. We had families that had just moved here. We had families that were from Somalia, India. I think we had a family that's from Haiti. They had never ever experienced anything like this before. And so the opportunity was great for them. And it was great to see them come out as a family and enjoy fishing. A lot of them caught their first fish. They learned about places to fish. They all went home with their own equipment. But there was one, I'm gonna have to get through this one. There was one child that came out with his mom, and I was helping another kid fish, and one of the volunteers came over and he said, "Scott, we need your help. We need you to come over. We have a child who is blind." And so I went over and I met Junie. June is his name, and his story quite honestly touched me in a way that I've never experienced. I've been doing outreach events for close to 30 years. I've been fortunate enough to introduce a lot of kids to the outdoors, to conservation. I've done tons of seminars. I've taught kids how to turkey call and how to fish and how to make things and canoe and all sorts of things. But in all those years, I had never had an experience like this. And so I'll tell you a little bit about Junie's story. And his mom can tell it a lot better than I can. And she is a totally amazing person. So she found Junie when he was 2 years old. She got a call from a foster care facility that they had a 2-year-old little boy who had been blind from birth. He was essentially low function, combative on any type of stimuli, and he was nonverbal. And she took Junie in and fostered him for about a year, I think, and then it became a situation where she could adopt, and she did that without any hesitation. I didn't know any of that when I first met Junie. All I knew is here is an amazing little boy who has such an excitement and such a fearless will to learn and experience. And so when I met Junie, all he wanted to do was bait his own hook, cast his own line. He wanted to get in the water, which was scaring me to death. He was fearless. And I saw a child that had such a level of excitement and just the amazement that he was showing for everything that he was hearing, everything that he was sensing and touching and smelling. It was humbling. It's the only way I can explain it. It was just a humbling experience to see this small little child and his mom that was so committed to him experiencing this. And you know, God shined on us that day. He let Junie have a great day. We caught a fish. The fish was perfect for him. It was a drum, which the reason they call them a drum is they make a drumming noise. And of course, not being able to see, being able to hear that fish and being able to feel the vibration in that fish just gave him an added experience. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to help him.
Say bye, fish. Bye.
Just that experience alone was amazing to me. But as I reflected on a child like Junie and a mom like Destiny coming to one of our events, it brought everything full circle for me. That one moment with that little boy and his mom, it made it all worth it. And it just solidified why we do what we do. We don't just build things. We don't just provide access. We don't just do conservation. We change lives. And to be able to see Destiny and Junie experience this was the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And all the people that were involved that day, nobody left with a dry eye, and nobody left not knowing that we want to keep doing this. We're making a difference. If we can change one life like that, all that work, all those hours, all those volunteers, I wish that every volunteer that worked on that project could have come out there and held Junie's hand and seen him jump up and down with excitement and the smile on his face, because they deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve that reward from all the hard work that they did, because it's a lot more than just the screws and the nails and the boards and the piers that we put in. It's truly about making a difference. And all of our volunteers make a difference with our projects. There's stories like that that are being played out with every project we do all across the nation. If you've never volunteered for something like this, if you've never experienced something like that, it will change you as a person. It'll make you a better person. It'll make you want to give back, and it'll make you understand why your time and your expertise and your talents are so important. And you'll never question volunteering for something like this again. And so it reaffirmed why I do what I do. And what we do is what we focus on the most, and how we do it is a lot of what takes up our time. But why we do it is what makes a difference.